Hi, I'm knitwear designer Carina Spencer, and this is my Orla's Vine cowl pattern. The design uses an original stitch pattern that combines stranded colorwork with simple cables for an effect that mimics embroidery and looks much more complicated than it is. In this video, I'll show you some of the techniques used in this pattern and some of the tricks I use to simplify the process. Let's start with the method I use to keep my yarn tangle-free while knitting this project. The key is to give your yarn an order of placement and always keep it in that place. I always keep my main color on my right and CC1 on my left. I keep CC2 or CC3 between them at the back. I am an English style knitter, but when I'm working stranded color work, I like to hold the main color in my right hand and a coordinating color in my left. Regardless of your style of knitting, work the CC1 stitches as directed in the pattern, bringing your CC1 yarn underneath the other colors. So when you've finished working your CC1 stitches, bring MC behind and on top of CC1 so that they aren't twisted together at all. Work in MC as directed in the pattern until it's time to switch to CC2. Bring CC2 across the wrong side of your work to where you're ready to knit, making sure that it's on top of CC1 and underneath your main color. You'll also notice that I'm not bothering to catch my long floats. That's because I've found a much easier way to handle them, and I'll show you how to do that in another step. When it's time to change back to CC1, make sure you're taking the yarn from underneath CC2. And when you switch back to CC2, it goes between CC1 and MC. And when it's time to work with MC again, it always goes behind both other colors. So continue working the rest of the project this way, with main color going behind or on top of both other colors, CC1 coming from underneath both other colors, and alternating between CC2 and 3, which passes between MC and CC1. I personally like to cut CC1 or CC2 after each round they're used in, but most of my test knitters for this pattern carried the yarn up the wrong side with good results. If you do choose to cut your yarn, you can use a simple bread tab to keep the ends organized. After each CC2 or 3 round and you've cut your end, you can just take them out of the bread tab, twist the new tail in with the others, pull it through the top of the bread tab, around the back, under the bottom, and back through the top, and it'll hold them out of your way really nicely. I find that when I'm working stranded colorwork, I have enough to concentrate on with the tension and the different colors that I'm using. I find it much easier to catch the long floats on the following round rather than worrying about them on the stranded colorwork round. So I'll pick up the float and put it on the left needle and then knit the next stitch. And then when you knit the following stitch, that float is caught in place. Work is directed in the pattern until you come across the longer floats. You can pick up 2 of them at a time and use the same method to catch them. If you find that picking up 2 strands leaves a visible mark on the front of your work, you can choose to pick up each one of those floats individually 1 or 2 stitches apart to minimize that effect. Using this method has really simplified stranded color work for me, and I hope it helps you out too. The last thing I want to show you is how to work the cables in this pattern without a cable needle. First is the 1/2 right cross. Step 1 is to knit into the 3rd stitch without dropping it off the needle. Then knit into the 1st and 2nd stitches normally. And when you knit that 2nd stitch, you'll drop the crossed stitch, the 1st stitch that you worked, off the needle. To work the 1/2 left cross without a cable needle, from the wrong side you'll insert the right needle into the backs of the 2nd and 3rd stitches. Slide your left needle out, dropping the first stitch off and picking it back up. Then transfer the second and third stitches back over to the left needle. Knit all 3 normally. I hope these tips make knitting this cowl a really fun project for you, and I absolutely can't wait to see your work. Please tag me at Carina Spencer or use hashtag Orla's Vine on Instagram so I can find you, and have a great time.